turn it like this. Yeah.
Does this still work that way?
Jackpot. Why have we not done that before?
Does it like still, will we still be able to read things this way? Or does it still come this way?
I don't know.
We can try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people can hold it that way.
But you should stand this way when you start.
So hard. Harder. Wait, are we just going off the dome here?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Connecting. We have Tumble starting your live.
Yeah, can you even see my eyes from here?
I don't know if it's actually started.
No, you gotta hit it again.
Nope, definitely can't.
Can you tell?
It's
Nope.
not live.
You talk. Wait. Go back.
Yeah. Connection.
You're trying to change the screen.
Connection. Yeah.
Can you tell my eyes?
No. Now we're live.
Now we're live.
Ah!
Connection was poor.
Connection was poor.
So we got a bunch of random stuff, but good topics. These are topics that, you have a lot of chatter in the gym, a lot of random conversations. Hey, coach, I got this thing going on. Hey, what's your opinion about this? Hey, coach. And we are all highly opinionated coaches. And so we're going to talk about some of those things. Topics include avoiding knee pain, short, effective workouts, how everyone needs a coach, and a little pop quiz that I didn't tell these guys. Neural training versus muscular training. Okay, so kind of like intensification versus accumulation, or getting that nervous system fired up versus more pump-based lifts. So we've got the phone turned the other way so you can see all three of us. Does anybody that's on right now, are you guys getting a good visual with all three of us? Yes? If you guys give me some feedback, give me a thumbs up. Nobody's on right now. That's all right. There's going to be like millions of people that watch it later.
Yeah.
All right. We're going with it. So the thing with the knee pain, it's funny, I said knee pain, but it was actually the conversation that I had with the gentleman was about back pain. But I ended up switching it last night to knee pain because I feel like I'm getting a lot of individuals with IT band issue, meniscus issues, and so how do you avoid it, whether something has happened, like a trauma has happened, there's still things that you can do to train. Mm-hmm. I think I'd like to start there, and a lot of those same things that you do to train when you're avoiding it are the same things to do to prevent it, right? So
Right.
Let's say you get an athlete that comes in, like I actually did this morning, Carrie. Brooke, it's your wife, Carrie. She stepped funny, and then she thinks, or I think, that her meniscus is like slightly inflamed, okay? So what do you do to kind of get her to continue training to avoid any additional knee pain or making it worse, causing more inflammation, which makes it kind of exacerbates the problem? What do you do with that client,
Like right there in the session, or like?
Yeah, she came in this morning.
Like her knees started bothering her mid-session?
Not that day, and it didn't even hurt in this session. There was no pain in the session. But she said that at the bottom range, she was getting some tightness. So you pull your knee all the way up, she was getting some tightness, and when it originally happened, it was actually like on the outside, but it was she was getting some inflammation, and there was like tightness in the joint. Okay, so what do you do? And she does when she comes in, she does full body workouts.
Yeah.
So generally, we're having her doing some posterior, we're having her doing some anterior chain like squat, deadlift, some unilateral like walking lunges or split squats.
What's her warm-ups? What type of dynamic warm-ups do you do?
She used to do some skipping and shuffling and stuff like that. But we're doing a lot of just like 5 minutes of activation, bird dog, face pull. Today she did. We kind of got right to the workout. It was elevated push-ups, TRX rows, and a like RDL deadlift, more posterior, more of a stretch for the hamstring. Okay. She actually did 2 sets of that, 10 reps each, and then we went to the main set. And the main set ended up being superset machines. Okay. And this is kind of getting into our like short workouts. She did 15, 12, 10, 8, 8.
Yeah.
So everyone getting a little bit heavier. And she did an upper body, lower body movements.
Yep.
So, what do you think, Austin? What do you what do you do and what do you avoid? What do you avoid in the session for, let's call it carry? What are the things that you avoid?
To start with, just avoid things that cause pain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
don't over.
That's,
Yeah,
you don't have to overcomplicate
If someone's
it, right?
forward lunging and they're getting pain, like
Stop doing it.
Stop
try
doing
reverse
it.
lunge
And we
or
can,
try
yeah.
stationary
So
reverse.
step one is, if you know what causes pain, or maybe you start doing something, then regress from there, right? You can, usually there's a way to work the same thing, but in terms of knee stuff, do you guys know who Ben Patrick is? The
Yep.
knees over toes guy?
Sure.
Has completely, like, revolutionized this whole idea of once your knees are hurt, you can't really fix them again, or like ACL to rebuilds to knee replacements, like, hey, stop strength training because it's not good for it. One, that's like totally backwards. But the big thing that he talks about and what probably made him popular was that walking backwards, but specifically it's like having load going backwards, right? So somebody who's new or like just kind of, because not
So
walking
Backwards sled
backwards.
walking.
So his big thing is sledding backwards, so pulling a weight backwards.
Backwards treadmill walking.
Yeah, and the guy's name is Ben Patrick, and it's called the knees over toes guy. I mean, he literally has like artificial parts in his knee, and they told him he'd never like get full range of motion or anything again, and now he can squat like nobody I've ever seen squat before. He can dunk and hit his head off the top of the backboard. I mean, he can do all kinds of stuff.
Let's keep going down this route.
Yeah, so what I would start with somebody, you kind of regress. So step one is, can you just walk backwards? Really specifically thinking about walking and really getting the knees over toe, like to your toe and pressing that way, like actually doing that kind of stuff. Then the next step, because we're at Lifetime, we have good stuff, I go to the new Woodways. You can turn on dynamic braking. You can give somebody load, because we only have one sled and not, a lot of stuff. The gym's busy. You can set it to, then your speed becomes your resistance. You can set it to 5 to 10 to 2 minutes of that.
So I'm gonna pause you there.
Okay.
Keep that thought rolling. What you do is you go to the Woodway, you hold dynamic braking
5 seconds.
until the speed blinks. Once the speed blinks, you hit the up button, and that'll change your resistance. You get as much as 20. Okay, so you can either push it like a sled, or you can walk backwards like a reverse sled drive.
Yeah.
So
And the key to that is to, if it gets too hard or you start sledding weight too heavy, then you lose that idea of really leaning back and driving with your toes, and you start to tilt forward more and push again with the whole bottom of your foot. So when we're doing this, we're really trying to step back to the toe and drive from like toe to heel every time. So we really start to, and most people start to feel it right at the top of their knee and their quads.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff, which is, we're essentially taking all the stuff we've been doing with our knees and really doing it backwards. That.
So I learned a technique of backwards sled walking called the Peterson step. There's a Peterson step, there's a Poliquin step, there's a low box step up, side box step up, and all those things are really good for the VMO, vastus medialis. And so ultimately that's what the benefit of that backwards walking is. It does the terminal extension of the knee, so from basically here to here affects the VMO a lot more. So the top end of the squat, okay? And so that's why you're not getting full range of motion like a deep squat where you get your butt, hamstrings, and so that's why you're getting such a localized pump in the quads.
So like those touchdowns.
Yeah, like when Kellen, watch Kellen do it a lot. He does a lot of step downs with people, yeah.
I have a lady that she had an ACL surgery 3 years ago. It was before she was my client. And I guarantee you she didn't do any of the PT stuff regularly.
Right.
That's why her bend is horrible. I mean, it's horrible. And so we're now trying to get more bend and more bend. And so those touchdowns seem to be helping.
Well, I
quite a
think
bit.
the disconnect between that is people do the PT stuff, but then,
They stop.
that's trying to get you ready to go do some more strength training eventually, right?
But they should continue to do that
Exactly,
even after
yeah.
their physical therapy.
So you get done with your physical therapy and then you stop that. Don't do that. Don't progress in strength training, and then you're just kind of right back where you started.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of rhythm squats?
Is it like some sort of tempo, but a different word?
I think it's technically 5 limited range of motion, fairly heavy back squats, and what you do is you go up and down at a fairly quick pace, and then so you go 5 with your feet flat, and then you go 5 where you're coming up onto your toes, and then you go 5 with your feet flat, 5 up onto your toes, and so on. Okay, so you go 5, 5, 5, 5, back and forth, alternating. What it does, it's a good precursor for plyometrics, but it also really stimulates the VMO. So I take that concept and I do often just limited range of motion, whether it be on a leg press, okay, where I'm doing it for, and in this situation, I'll do it for time, but I rarely do it. I sometimes do reps, but it's nothing less than 20. And if I do it for time, it's generally starting at 30 or 40 seconds, okay? So you want time under tension there, right? So you're trying to get a big localized pump. So whether it be on a leg press, on a back barbell squat, the barbell can be taken off like pins, or you can squat to pins, so you're getting like really truly limited range of motion. So that's another really good VMO development exercise. And then back to your back to our original topic of how do we prevent and avoid knee pain. People are super developed in their rectus femoris and vastus lateralis. Not so much in the VMO, that's why these are really good, but rarely are they.
Mine sticks out.
Rarely are they developed more, or do they have good structural balance between their quads and their hamstrings, and their butt. So
sometimes I like having people do hamstring work before we go squat.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. It's like
Pump
a
those-
pre-exhaust.
pump those-
Yeah,
pump
pre-exhaust,
the
right?
hamstrings
I like that idea, absolutely. But like deadlifts, man, deadlifts, hip thrusts, hamstring curls. So remember, I originally said that this was originally brought to me by a back injury. Is a basketball player who trains his legs twice in the week, and so I thought we should actually just talk about knee pain. Now, this guy that I was giving tips on the training floor, I told him that he should do a knee flexion-based movement twice a week. One of those days should be a single leg, so like a kneeling hamstring curl.
It's like a single leg squat snatch.
Yeah. Kneeling, single leg kneeling hamstring, and then the other day should be a two-legged hamstring. So you're getting
Some unilateral
knee flexion twice a week. Okay, so some of that's because that hamstring crosses the knee joint and can help stabilize it. With that being said,
That's
calves
a
are
huge,
also really good.
That's a
things
huge
to-
thing too.
yeah.
So like when I was coaching collegiately, especially in like women's sports, there was probably a span of like, still now, but like 10 to 15 years where there were so many ACL tears, and that's because, at least my experience with the team, I mean, there was essentially no hamstring strengthening. Like we didn't do anything. Like once I came onto the scene, yes, we did a lot more in the weight room, a little more organized, that kind of stuff. But before that, there was no specific, like, if we know that you're with a demographic that has a lot of knee injuries, like, we should be attempting to try to stabilize those things and make the stuff around them as strong as possible.
Women's soccer.
Yeah. Which was women's soccer. That's what
Yeah.
I coached. Yeah.
Let's say you're out on this.
Glutes. Glutes. You ever do side plank clamshells?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Let's say you're out in the field, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and your girls don't make it into the weight room, but maybe once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just theoretically saying, what would you do to strengthen things for the knee if all you got is a soccer pitch? You got a soccer field. You're out there. Maybe you got some benches. Maybe you got some partners.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do if you start to think about maybe starting to apply some DPT to that stuff. You know,
That's actually what I was thinking.
all you
Yeah,
really
sure.
need, all you really need is a towel and a partner. You can start to do holds. They can walk backwards with resistance, like with a partner. I mean, you don't need that. Last time I checked, all you need is gravity to do stuff that makes strength training. So
Manual resistance hamstrings.
That's exactly.
So they're
yeah.
lying on their back, their legs are up, and then the one person's resisting, and then pull. It's more about the resist. All right, get them back up to start.
Even in my mind now, this run would be a great warm up to practice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
It'd be,
Or even with a leg extension, because I'm big on
Sissy squats?
eccentric loaded single leg extensions.
Mm.
So like,
Up
if
with
I have a
both?
client that has a bad right knee, we'll go up with both, hold down, nice and slow.
We should do an anatomy lesson over here.
Yeah.
Do it on your left side. Bing, 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 bing. Yep.
Oh, my bad. I messed it up.
So,
Wait, so run that by me again. What were you saying?
Huh?
They have a bad right knee.
So, like, let's say their right knee's bad. Have them extend, like, start with 10 pounds, like
Yeah.
the lightest that it goes, right? And we'll have them work up. Have them drop the left, so you're still holding that flexed, and you're just eccentrically loading
yeah.
the right. So you're helping a lot when you're extending up, so you don't have to worry too much about the concentric, right? And you're just eccentrically loading right here.
So that's a good protocol for any kind of tendonitis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps
So,
the patella tendon quite a bit.
Patella tendonitis, Achilles tendonitis, you go up in a calf raise with both, remove the one, and you slowly eccentrically lower. It's all about the eccentric. And the way I was taught this was that your tendons, when you have a tendonitis, your tendons, when they're looking good, they should run like this, nice and parallel. But when you get a tendonitis, under a microscope, they start to look like this. And with those eccentrics, they can actually redevelop, and it improves the stiffness and the resilience by doing those eccentrics. What was I thinking about the other thing? Oh, a hamstring. So you do the same thing on the lying hamstring curl machine. Up with two,
Down with
release, down with one. And I do add those a lot. If you got a 12 or a 16-week program, I put those in earlier in the programming. So like the first 4, call it 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then as you get closer to your event or competition, then you're going both. You got to lift some load, man. Let's go both legs. So just a programming tip for you guys.
Yeah.
I think we need to get to short, effective workouts unless you guys have
Yeah,
any
because we got about like
closing
10,
things.
about
on
like
the-
10 minutes. You want to talk about effective workouts?
So I got an example this morning.
Effective or effective?
I get always get. No, I'm not the worst.
I'm me
English.
neither.
You're a math teacher.
I taught special ed.
Effective?
So I was in the locker room, and that's where most. We should actually do this call in the locker room because most great
That would,
conversations.
that would totally fly on YouTube.
Guy, my client, said, "Mike, I got 10 minutes. What do I do?" I said,
Shit.
"Johnny, on the spot. Here we go." I said leg press, and either a seated row or a chest press machine. And like what I did with Carrie today, you go 15 reps on the first, 15 reps on the next. The 15 acts like a warm-up, okay? So if you're doing 15, you can't do that much load. Screw all like the face pulls and the clams and the lateral band walks. Let's get right to it. It's got 10 minutes. We got to go right to the big movements. First off, I chose 2 big compound complex movements, right? Upper, lower, leg press, okay? Pin loaded. He doesn't have to load plates up on a squat rack. Let's go. And then he goes to 12. It gets heavier, goes to 10, gets heavier, goes to 8, gets heavier. And then once you get to 8, you can kind of finagle wherever you're at with the weight. You can either keep adding or you can kind of hang out there. But basically you're going back and forth. If you got 10 minutes, maybe you get 6 sets, maybe 7, shut it down. So that was what I recommended.
Yeah. I think.
It just depends on what he's trying to do.
Yeah, what's your goal?
Is it a conditioning
Obviously,
day?
yeah.
Is it a strength day? Because
anybody
if
working
you-
out in 10 minutes, that's going to
Well,
be.
I mean,
that's going to be.
have you
conditioning
ever
work.
Tabated yourself on the assault bike?
That-
All you need is 4 minutes.
You
and
talk
you'll
about
be-
yourself. You talk.
Yeah.
You got the Murph coming up.
So,
you
I
got,
mean, like,
you got,
if I
you
had
got a
one-
half an hour yesterday.
If I had
half an hour.
if I had a client that was like, bro, I got like 15 minutes, I'd be like, all right, you see that assault bike over there? All I need is 4.
It's
You're not
great.
gonna want it's really easy because Tabata is 8 rounds of what? 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. I mean, you do that first. I mean, you can, but it's very hard to hurt yourself on a bicycle. It doesn't move. You can't fall off. Like, one, you can kind of progressively get faster as you feel yourself, right? That 4 minutes is really going to open you up. Then you can go do other stuff, right? I probably want to get the most out of something. So then if you've got 10 minutes left, I'm going to, depending on the skill level, we're going to AMRAP something, right? Like, we're going to do some sort of press, some sort of pull, and we're just going to, like, honestly, it could be body weight, pull-ups, sit-ups, squats, just like a 10-minute AMRAP of 10, 15, 20. Like, you can get a lot of reps in. There's not a lot of load. You just need your body. Like,
Could do not to cut you off, but you could get yourself a like AMRAP. I think of if you're truly taking yourself to failure.
yeah.
One set, right?
Dude, if you 10 minutes,
right?
Well, I mean, you could do like, so I've done stuff before where I set it, so I got on like a pec deck. You could literally apply this to any machine.
yeah, right.
Get on
Exactly.
a pec deck, say 80 reps and with 90 pounds, few sets as possible. Take 20 to 30 second rest periods.
That's a British stancy.
That's a great time. I mean, if people, it's kind of a funny acronym, EMOM, or on the minute workouts. It's a really good way to, I've got 10 minutes and I'm going to do one or two things. I'm going to alternate back and forth every minute and I'm going to get X amount of reps. And that's that's going to keep you on track. And you're not going to dilly-dally. That's a really good way.
It's a fixed amount of time.
Right.
I got 10 minutes, let's set the 10-minute timer.
Yeah, and I'm going to do this, whether it be a row or pec deck or something, every minute on the minute, I'm going to do X amount of reps at this weight. If that felt good, go up or down, like make it work. Kudos to that person that came in to work out for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I know. I think he probably just kind of called while he was in the bathroom.
I try to speak really fast.
See, I would do, I think, assisted pull-ups to goblet squat.
That's a great
Assisted pull-up.
RDL to
maybe
floor
like
press.
5 sets of that with, at 30-second rest. I'd have them take about a 10-second rest between exercise, 30-second rest after the set, 5 sets, and then I'd probably also do a bent over row to RDL superset, 8 to 10 reps, bent over row, 8 to 10 reps RDL, and then have that dude lunge for like 30 reps. 20 to 30
So
body weight.
I think the common denominator is it's hard training.
Yeah.
If you've got limited time.
Limited
get
time means
after
your
it.
intensity has to
Like,
go
crush
up
it.
for sure.
And I'll contradict that. I do believe that, like, you got limited time, freaking crush. Okay, like Tabatas, like EMOMs, AMRAPs, take yourself to failure. Okay, but I also think sometimes that, and this is, we never know where people are at, and everybody's a little.
Well, that's usually how we
case
always
study,
start
right?
is what's their goal.
What's their goal?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but let's say you are freaking exhausted. Getting out and getting a walk, even
Dude.
if it's for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There's so much good, and speaking of like mental health these days and everything's happening in the climate in the world right now, there is good that comes out of a 10-minute power walk. All right?
Even if it's a 10-minute bike ride, like it doesn't
Whatever.
have to anything.
Movement. Movement is really good for the brain. It helps boost dopamine, which helps you focus for work, helps you focus for the kids, helps me when COVID was happening, not be too aggressive with them. When the days that I didn't train, aggression was higher, 100%.
Right.
And so what it does is it actually calms the brain. So I think don't if you're like, well, I can't do an intense workout, I don't have the energy to do that, do something. You gotta do something though, okay? So,
Yeah. Do something. That's the underlying theme of the day, I think.
yeah. You got limited time, crush it. I'm gonna speak up for my runners, but sprints, man. Sprints, 400s, or 30-second to 1-minute efforts. You could do 30s, you could do 40s,
I mean,
you could do 60
The
seconds.
alpha people, like, you ever done a 10-minute EMOM of 10 burpees on the minute?
No.
You'll be done, like, after 10 minutes.
No, I'm
like,
not. No, I'm not.
It'll be
no,
effective.
I will never, ever. The answer to that question is no.
The
No, I'm not.
last thing, I think we got about like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a coach, okay? Coaches need coaches,
Yeah.
but I've had conversation with people out on the floor who walk in, and these are case studies that like literally the last hour, people are like, Mike, what should I do? And I'm like,
I heard
yeah,
that. I heard
you
that
hear
lady.
Yeah, like, well, that's so arbitrary. What are you trying to do? Like, yeah.
Well, golly, so I threw
Well, I
something
think they do a
at her,
different
but-
workout every time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They do a workout every time, and guess what? The days and the months and the years that I haven't had a coach, I've had a coach more than I haven't had a coach in my past. Okay,
Most people overcomplicate.
but what I will say is the times I don't have either a coach or a program, it's so much easier to do the easy way out, or conversely, the thing that I like to do, and oftentimes that gets me out of balance. Okay, I do the thing that I like to do. I gravitate towards that thing, but then this thing over here gets missed, right? This energy system gets missed, or this type of lift, a unilateral, whatever. Okay, so I gravitate towards deadlifts and hex bars, where I probably should be front squat. And that's my weakness, right? Anyway, but
And snatching.
it's definitely weakness. I'm getting better, but I think everybody needs a coach for the accountability, and even if I got somebody who's like, hey, my wife got COVID, I got to watch the kids, what do I do? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to bounce, have someone to bounce ideas off from, you know? So.
And I think that I get it. Maybe monetarily, some coaches are out of reach, but there's a lot of ways that you can have a coach, right? So there's online programming you can look at to at least give you a skeleton of like, at least I'm not favoring one thing. I'm going off of something, you know, that there's something better than just coming up the stairs and when you look at the gym floor, be like, what are we gonna do today?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think the gold standard that I like for my athletes, like let's say that they come and train with me a couple times in the week. That's great. But what do they do all those other weeks? So the gold standard is my client sees me a couple times a week and then I write their online program.
Yeah.
The next is that I write their online program.
I mean, I heard a really good quote the other day, and this applies exactly what you're saying. What we do in the gym echoes what we do outside of the gym. So the 1 hour I see, it's really the 23 hours that,
Yep.
you know, the other stuff that you do.
Yep.
I literally just bought like a little poster thing to put on my wall that has like it's
A quote similar to
very
that?
Similar
Yeah.
to that. What we do in life echoes in eternity.
Yeah.
Or we are
Yeah.
the sum of all of our daily habits.
Yeah.
So we got
It's
1
a
minute
thing.
to say all of
It's
our
really
favorite
cool.
quotes. No.
I'll tell you my quote. To give anything less than your best is a sacrifice the gift.
It's a good one.
Said by Steve Prefontaine.
I've got a couple of good ones. I mean, there's...
No, you said
Okay.
Ah.
Franklin
It's
D.
like you can't
Roosevelt. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. A smooth
Oh, I just
sea
got chills,
never made a
dude.
skilled sailor.
You
Yeah.
got chills, Dave.
I just got
That's
chills
so
saying
good.
that out loud too.
Take it, chew on it, use
Okay,
it for
what's
your.
your-
I don't know. Don't put me on the spot
Matt,
right now.
what's
No.
your?
What?
Oh my God!
I
What is
don't
it?
know.
What's your
How do you
poster
not
say?
have a-
Hey man, huh?
What? Say it again. What's your poster say that you just bought?
What we do in life echoes in eternity.
There we go.
Bring it. Don't touch us though.
It's allergies,
He's
man.
got allergies.
allergies.
You got allergies.
Coaches and coffee. Right? 1, 2, 3. Coaches and coffee.